In this video, we're going to look at one of the most important functions in all of mathematics, and that is the exponential function. So in the last video, we looked at exponential functions, but it turns out one of them is king of them all. Let's jump straight into Desmos to explore this and to discover which of our exponential functions is called the exponential function. Okay, so I'm back in Desmos here, playing around with our exponential graph, same one from before. You know, when the base is bigger than 1, it looks like that. When the base is less than 1, or between 0 and 1, it looks like that. Now, I'm going to plot another graph. Now, its equation, don't worry about that. You're not going to understand that now. What I've plotted here is the gradient function for the red graph. So what this is telling me, what the dotted green line is telling me, is what the gradient is at each point on the red function. So for example, if you want to know what is the gradient of the red line when x equals 4, what's the steepness there, you can just look down here and see, oh, it's about 2, right? Because that value is 2. So the gradient here is about 2. And then what's the gradient when x is 2? Well, it's about 1, roughly 1. And, we can play around, and one thing that you will notice is that when you've got an exponential, so the red is just an exponential graph, its gradient function has basically the same shape, which is a pretty cool idea. So the gradient function of an exponential is also an exponential function. Okay, there is a particularly magic point, and I wonder if you can see what it is. So maybe you can just watch me playing around here and see if any point in particular catches your eye. Did you spot it? So it is about this point here, because at this point here, the gradient function is the same as the function. Okay, let me stress that point and say it again. At this point, and at this point alone, the gradient function, which is usually, well, there it's below and there it's above, but at this point, they are the same. Okay, so what does that mean? That means we have a function whose gradient function is the same as it. Now, to find gradient functions, you differentiate. So we have found a function which differentiates to itself. Okay, this is a big deal. We're going to explore why this is a big deal. Notice that the base needs to be 2.7. Now, it turns out it's not exactly 2.7. Let's see what it actually is. All right, so it's true that if y is roughly 2.7 to the x, then we saw that the gradient function is the same. Now, it's not exactly 2.7. It's actually this number here, 2.718281883, and so on. Well, it's actually a 2, but it rounds to 3. Now, if you want to know what that number is, you can find it on your calculator. It has a name. It is called E. Now, E is a big deal. E is a big deal just like pi is a big deal. It's one of these mathematical constants. It's an irrational number, so you can't express it as a fraction. It's even a transcendental number, which means it's not the square root or the cube root of anything. So E, massively important number. It's on your calculator. In fact, it's just next to the pi button. So if you find the pi button on your calculator, you normally press shift to get pi, you just press alpha to get E. I'll show you that now, actually. Okay, so to find E on your calculator, it's here, it's just next to pi. So just press alpha, and then this button here, and there is E. So 2.718281828. You might think the 18281828 continues forever. It doesn't. That's just a fluke at the beginning. Okay, so you're going to be using that button. You're also going to be using this button here quite a lot, which is if you want to do e to a certain power, because we end up using that a lot. So for example, if you wanted to work out e squared, we can go shift, then this button here, and there is e squared. So it's so important it appears on your calculator, just like pi. It's pride of place along with pi in the kind of special mathematical constants area. All right, so here is the key fact about this, like the key fact. If you have y equals e to the x, notice how big I'm writing because this is so important, then if you differentiate, you get the same thing, e to the x. E to the x is the function which differentiates to itself. That's what I was showing you with the graph, that the gradient function was the same as the function if it's e to the x. Okay, so that fact, massively important. That is just going to rock your world next year. You're going to be using it all the time and has so many incredible and useful applications. Let's explore this a little bit more and let's just get used to what its graph looks like and what the different sorts of transformations of its graph look like. Okay, so can we sketch the following function, e to the 2x minus 1? Well, look, e to the x, in some ways, in terms of its shape anyway, it's just a plain old exponential function. Okay, the base is 2.7 roughly, so nothing particularly special about that. It's bigger than 1, so it's just exponential growth, so that's what it looks like. So what does it look like to have e to the 2x minus 1? Well, e to the 2x, well, let's actually just build this up. Yeah, so if f of x is e to the x, then e to the 2x is f of 2x. So what's the effect of that? Well, f of 2x transformations squish things in this way. So if that one here is e to the x, e to the 2x will just all be squished in a little bit, which means it's going to look maybe a bit more like that, just squished in on this side, squished in on that side. So that is what e to the 2x will look like. Now, what about the minus 1? Well, having a minus 1 transformation, so f of 2x minus 1, just moves things down by 1 unit. So my overall sketch is going to be a slightly squished in exponential function, all dropped down by 1. So normally it crosses the y-axis at 1 because, well, e to the 0 is 1, anything to the 0 is 1, but if it moves down by 1 unit, it moves from 1 down to 0. So it's now going to be an exponential, slightly squished in, that goes up through the origin and then up it goes. It's got an asymptote because the normal e to the x has an asymptote at the x-axis, y equals 0, but now it's going to have an asymptote 1 unit below that. So we can put in a dotted line and say that's y equals -1. And this is, of course, the origin here. So there's a sketch of e to the 2x minus 1. Let's have a look at a couple more just to get really familiar with its graph. 3e to the minus x. Well, let's build this up again. So if f of x is e to the x, then what would e to the minus x be? Well, that's f of minus x, and that's a reflection, and it's a reflection in the y-axis. So we're just going to flip it round that way. So you can have plenty of rough sketches here. So here's e to the x. So a reflection is going to look like this. So that's e to the minus x. And now we're just multiplying it up by 3. So that's a kind of 3f of x transformation, or 3f of minus x. So that stretches it like this. So we're just going to take this dotted line and stretch it all 3 times as far away from the y-axis, from the x-axis, sorry. So what's that going to look like? Well, it's going to have a very similar shape. It would have gone through at 1 before, because all exponentials cross at 1, if they're just a simple exponential, because anything to the power 0 is 1. So now it's going to cross at 3, because it's just been stretched up a bit. So we have a graph that comes up here, goes up through at y equals 3, and then just takes off, up and away. So this point here is 0, 3. Okay, one more. All right, tricky one here. Now, we haven't really discussed transformations like f of 2x plus 3 transformations. They're actually pretty awkward. We've got more than one thing going on in this, so that's not how I recommend doing this. We can actually use some indice rules here. So we could say that this is e to the 2x times e cubed. Now e cubed, you can just work it out on your calculator. There's nothing magic about it. E cubed is just the number, it's about 20, it's roughly 20. So what this is roughly 20 times e to the 2x. So we'll come back to this at the end, because this here is just a kind of coefficient at the start. What about the e to the 2x? Well, if f of x was e to the x, then it would be f of 2x, which is e to the 2x, and that is just a squishing in like this. So rough sketch here, normal e to the x, as we keep seeing, looks kind of like this, and if it's e to the 2x, it's just squishing it in, so it just looks a little bit more bunched in like that, twice as close to the y-axis. So all we need to do then, if we've got this thing here, is multiply it by 20, which has the effect of just stretching it out by a factor of 20 that way. So our final sketch of this is going to have exactly the same shape. It's just it's really stretched out. So normally an exponential would cross at 1, but now it's going to cross at 20 times that, except it's not exactly 20, it's e cubed. So I'm going to draw effectively the same shape, maybe just a little bit higher, and up and up and up and up it goes, like that. It's just that it's not crossing at 1 here. The coordinates here is x equals 0, and y equals, I keep saying 20, but it's not, it's e cubed. And we really can just leave it at e cubed, because e is just one of those numbers you can't simplify in any other way. It's like writing pi over 4 in a trigonometry question. Or the area of a circle or something like that. So e cubed is the simplest way to write that. All right, hope you've enjoyed seeing what e to the x is. We're going to explore it in many interesting ways in the upcoming videos. So I'll see you there.